everybody, welcome back to another session of the Hopry. My name is Mark Starr, and today I'm going to be sharing a beer with you. It's actually a new style of beer that's kind of, I guess, spreading across the country. It's called a Cascadian Dark Ale. You may also hear people refer to these as black IPAs. From what I've been able to gather from reading on this beer, this is going to be, really hoppy, really hop forward. They're going to be using a lot darker malts than we're used to seeing in our regular IPAs and Imperial IPAs. But I did review a beer last year called Beer Here's Dark Hops. The difference in this beer and that beer, for example, is that that was basically an Imperial Stout that was hopped up, really heavily. You could say the same thing for Goose Island's Night Stalker. But this is going to be a little bit lighter than those. It's not going to have that overwhelming Imperial Stout base in it. But anyway, this one clocks in at 6.5%. So, fairly low on the end. I guess this would be, more along the regular IPA ABV, but not quite up with some of the Imperial IPAs. This is brewed, like I said, at Deschutes Brewery, which is out of Oregon. Really good brewery. I've had, I don't know, maybe a handful of beers from them, and everything that I've had I really like. I actually purchased this one a couple of months ago when I was up in Minneapolis. I wanted to get it on the show as soon as possible, just because I'm afraid if I let it sit too long that a lot of those hop characters are really going to die out, and I don't want to have that happen. They do say on the bottle here that it's best after 6/26/10. So I'm hoping that there's still quite a bit of that hop character in there. But having said that, let's go ahead and pour it and see if it does a good job. All right. There we go. Set that up there for you to look at. All right, so I can tell right away this is a very well crafted beer. Just the way that head looks sitting on top. It's very creamy. Very consistent sized bubbles. There's the occasional bigger bubble on there, but it's really not, fading at all. It's just got really good head retention. The color, yeah, it's definitely dark. It's not Imperial Stout dark. I can see some ruby red color and maybe a little bit of raisin colors right around the edges and the bottom of the glasses. But it's virtually opaque. I'm not seeing through it at all, but really it's a really pretty looking beer. And you can see I just gave it a gentle little swirl there, already getting a really good amount. Not so sure if you can see that, already getting a pretty good amount of lacing on the glass there. But anyway, let's go ahead and get our nose in there and dig into it. So I'm definitely getting a lot of hops, which makes me happy, because the last thing I want to do is have people, leave me a comment like, hey, you're reviewing this thing 3 months after you're supposed to. I'm really getting a lot of hop character in there. I know they brew this with Citra, which is a new favorite of mine based on my review I did not too long ago of the Josiah Miller IPA. But, I really like the sort of, dank character that has. It's got a real kind of, piney, grassy. It's not as, I guess in this beer it's not as, citric forward as I thought. And that could be because the malts are really kind of taming the hops down a little bit. I get a little bit of dark fruit in there as well. It's really floral though, and I know that's coming from the hops and not so much the malts. But yeah, really I like the dank character mixed with the dark fruits like the plums. Yeah, really good smelling beer. So, well guys, cheers. Wow, that's pretty good. I do get a touch of coffee, believe it or not. Now I do know that that's obviously coming from the malts that they use in this, the the black malts, and I am getting that nice hoppy character. The hoppiness in here really is more on the pine side of hops, not so much on the citrus end. Though I would say that maybe the citrus components that I'm looking for are kind of being confused on my nose and palate with the kind of floral aroma that's, that I got from earlier from smelling the beer. And I would say it goes down really well. I'm definitely getting those hops, really pulling those flavors out of there. Again, with those darker fruits. This is a very drinkable beer. Really like the beer. I really like the style. I'm kind of fascinated with the style. Obviously, I think more breweries are really getting on board with kind of the trends in craft beer. I think for 2010, this was definitely one of the trends. We'll probably see it again going through 2011, maybe 2012. But anyway, I guess really just an enjoyable beer. Not a whole lot else I can say. I do like it, and highly recommend it if you can get one, though I think you might have, I don't think you can really find any more this year, and I think it's released sometime around summer, so keep an eye out for it, and definitely pick one up if you can, and I recommend not doing what I did and drinking it fresh, though if you're not going to drink it fresh, make sure you fridge the hops. Alright guys, we'll see you next time. Cheers.